everybody. It is week 15 NFL points, picks, and props. Welcome to the best podcast slash YouTube show that's all about NFL betting each week. Tommy Birch, he is in Springfield, Massachusetts. He just finished a long day of finals, of semester finals. Well done, Tommy, on surviving today. Hopefully, you can make it through the next hour and a half. Ben O'Connell, he is are you in Chicago right now, Ben? You are muted at the moment. Ben, are you in
I'm in
Chicago?
I'm in Champaign, Illinois.
Champaign, Illinois. All right.
Just stopping through for a couple of days, but if you're in town, I gotta show this the 30th at Yellowstone. Stop by, it'll be fun.
Excellent. Yes, Ben is a brilliant stand-up comedian. He went to college for that. Who knows? And then I'm Kyle Garrett. I'm in Denver, Colorado. I just moved this week, so sadly, the wall that you're used to seeing that's just decked out with wonderful drawings of Patrick Mahomes and Derek Thomas and Andy Reid, and we could just go on and on. It is white right now because we just moved, and I don't have any hammers or nails at this new location. So don't worry. By next week, we will be fully adorned in the red and gold of the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Really, this was all just an excuse to say the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. So guys, week 15, we now have 4 weeks of football left to go. I thought that this might be a fun time to revisit our playoff picks that we made before the season started. Ooh. So let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, we did actually okay. There's a couple of pretty big swings and misses, but I think you're going to be somewhat pleased with the results. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with Ben's team. So the Bengals, I mean, they obviously they lost their quarterback. They may still sneak in even with Jake Browning. So, hey, the Jacksonville Jaguars still in line to win their division. The Chiefs in line to win their division. The Bills are not going to win the AFC East. The Ravens will be a playoff team. The Jets probably not. Hey, the Denver Broncos could actually sneak in there as the 7th seed. So your AFC is not so bad. You've got the Lions, 49ers, all there at the top, Eagles. The Carolina Panthers, maybe a bit of a reach. It was the NFC South, so you weren't asking them to win 12 games or anything like that. But the Panthers probably not going to be a playoff team at 1-11 at the moment, or 1-12. Seahawks, they could still sneak in. The Vikings could still sneak in. And the Bears got a late start, but they've had a pretty good run since then. So anything there that you would like to comment on there, Ben?
I did pick this with an Aaron Rodgers led Jets. I would like that to be my caveat. And I thought the Bills would hold on a little bit longer. I'm happy that they're crumbling sooner, but I thought they had a little bit more oomph in them. But other than that, yeah, you're right. I thought it was way worse, honestly.
Yeah, no, not nearly as bad. And I think, Tommy, you're going to be pleased by your results as well. The Bills obviously higher than they're going to be, and the Jets, of course. But you've got the Broncos, who again could sneak in there. Ravens, Jags, Chiefs, and maybe the Bills still. You missed on the Dolphins, but otherwise the AFC looks pretty good. NFC, I mean, again, the Saints could still be that 4th seed if they win that conference or win that division. The NFC looks pretty solid. Cowboys and Eagles, look at the moment are flip-flop, but that could easily flip between 1 and 5 again before the end of the season. Otherwise, I mean, the Vikings are a little high, but I think that that's a pretty solid an NFC there for you.
I'll take it.
And for me, again, my biggest swing and the miss is the Jets. But as Ben pointed out, we all thought Aaron Rodgers was going to play a full season. 49ers, Cowboys, they do look right now like the class of the NFC. I had the Lions winning that division. The Saints have been a disappointment, obviously, and the Washington Commanders have been a massive disappointment. But overall, not terrible, minus the fact that I will never bet on Ron Riverboat Rivera again. He has been a huge letdown. That whole team needs just a whole revamping. But that's how we've done for the playoffs. Not so bad now that we are, 14 games completed or 14 weeks completed. We're heading into week 15. All right, guys. So as I mentioned, I did move this week. So the topic of tonight's game, NFL teams that have moved. All right. This is going to be a fun little quiz. We will see which one of you can win this. And of course, by winning the quiz, you get to pick your favorite, your top dog, and your easy money line pick first. Tommy, I believe you were our winner last week.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, that's kind of been our default position on the season. No offense, Ben. You're doing fine. You've not finished below second place any single week. So I will.
I'm so proud of you, Ben. It's okay.
That. All right. So Tommy, starting off with you. Most teams keep their nickname when they move. This team that moved in 1997 would eventually change theirs.
Nickname.
Yes. So, like the 49ers, for example, is the nickname for the San Francisco team. So, when this team moved in 1997, they eventually changed their name.
Eventually?
Eventually.
I'm going to go with the Commanders.
It is the Tennessee Titans. They moved to Tennessee. They were the Tennessee Oilers to begin with. And then when they moved to their permanent home in Nashville, they became the Titans. Sorry, Ben, I should have given you an opportunity to spew that knowledge yourself. I will not jump in again. All right, Ben, this is to you.
Guys. I'm telling the viewers, they're picking on me. They know I'm off of 40 hours no sleep, so they're just trying to plan on my downfall right now.
All right, I'll go through and find the low balls for you here, the low hanging fruit. All right, Ben. Two teams have had homes in 3 different states. Name one of them.
In 3 different states?
2 teams have had homes in 3 different states. Just name one.
3 different states. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
Is the Rams one of them?
The Rams is indeed one of them. They began the Cleveland Rams, so Ohio was a state. Of course, they were in California, and then they were in St. Louis. That makes 3 states: Ohio, California, and Missouri. The other team, the Arizona Cardinals, which began in Chicago. They were the Chicago Cardinals, then they became the St. Louis Cardinals, and now they are the Arizona Cardinals. 3 different states, those 2 teams. So Ben is ahead 1-0. Well done. All right, Tommy.
Don't lowball me, Kyle. I got this.
Of all of the NFL teams that have called Los Angeles home over the years, this one is the only team that originated there.
Originated in LA.
Only original LA team. Everybody else that has played in LA moved to LA from somewhere else.
I don't know, Kyle. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Ben, do you know the answer to this?
Is this the Raiders?
It is not the Raiders. The Raiders began in Oakland. This is the Chargers. Before moving to San Diego, they were the Los Angeles Chargers, but they moved to San Diego to get their own identity, and now, of course, they are back in LA. All right, Ben, this question is to you. This New York-based team has played in Manhattan, the Bronx, Queens, New Haven, Connecticut, and New Jersey.
Is the Giants?
It is indeed the Giants. They played in the Polo Grounds initially in Manhattan. They played at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. They played at Shea Stadium in Queens. They played at Yale Stadium in New Haven. And they, of course, are now in New Jersey. Well done. Ben, you are up 2-0.
It's my neck of the woods over there, New Haven, Connecticut.
Yes, well, they were figuring out where they were going to go. They went to Connecticut for like a year. All right, Tommy, this is to you. In 2020, this team was forced to play 3 home games in another state because of restrictions in place during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Wait, who was this? Who was this?
It was one of the NFL teams. They had to play another state.
Was it Arizona?
Arizona's where they played.
Oh, I was so close.
The state of Arizona had very, very lax COVID-19 rules. They basically treated it as if there was no pandemic. This team, Ben, do you know who this team might have been?
Was it the Vikings?
It was not the Vikings. It was the San Francisco 49ers.
Holy
Santa
shit.
Clara. Santa
makes
Clara
sense.
said no to any kind of contact sport. You were not allowed to play contact sports during COVID-19. The 49ers had to play 3 home games in the Arizona where the
so
Cardinals
funny.
play there in Glendale.
Of
All
course.
right.
I mean, it so adds up.
All right, Ben. This is to you. This is a chance for you to have a perfect quiz here. All right. Which NFL city has had a team for the most consecutive years? Doesn't necessarily mean it was the same team, but they have had a team for the most consecutive years. NFL city, old city, so not a West Coast city. This is an old, been around for a long time in the NFL. Not a Jaguars team, not an Arizona team.
Chicago.
It is indeed Chicago. The Chicago Cardinals are the oldest existing franchise, and then the Chicago Bears jumped in and have been in Chicago ever since. Well done, Ben. You just smoked Tommy 3-0. Let's go ahead and do the tiebreaker just because it's fun and I prepared for it. How many of the current 32 NFL teams have changed cities in their history? Tommy, what's your guess? 32 NFL teams, how many of them have changed their cities in history?
I'm going to highball it. I'm going 23.
23 teams have changed cities. All right. Ben?
I'm like thinking 8.
It is 11. So Ben, you are closest. The Bears are one of the 11. They went from Decatur to Chicago.
Yeah.
The Lions from Portsmouth, Ohio to Detroit. The Commanders moved from Boston to DC. Then the Rams, of course, Cardinals, Chargers, Chiefs began down there in Dallas. The Raiders have changed multiple times. The Colts, of course, from Baltimore to Indianapolis. The Ravens from Cleveland to Baltimore, and the Titans from Houston to Tennessee. The 11. So that's a third of the teams have changed cities. Ben, I hope this bodes well. I mean, you rocked it today. You won all 3. You won the tiebreaker. So I'm going to assume that when the dust settles on Monday night, you're going to have had a perfect week of NFL betting. Probably not too much to ask. So everybody do exactly what Ben says today. We're going to move him into the big box so that he can begin with his wisdom. And we're going to begin with the Battle of the Bays, Tampa Bay and Green Bay.
Yes. This is an interesting matchup here. I came to you last week and I sat here and not here, I guess it was in Chicago, but I told you that Shake and Bake Mayfield was just going to somehow find a way against a division rival. And did I steer you wrong? Hell no. I would be steered wrong later when we talked about the Packers and the Giants, because that was an insane game, wasn't it? But I think that consistency wise with the Green Bay Packers, that's just something that scares me right now. Sometimes I think that they are just playing above and out of their minds. And then other weeks, I'm just wondering why they're having so much trouble moving the ball. I Not to really call Tampa Bay, the pinnacle of consistency by any means. But if this was a 2.5 point spread or something, I may be leaning more with Green Bay at an even 3. I'm more inclined to take the points with the Bucks here. I'm not really sure how much attention I'll be paying to this game, but there's some real implications on the NFC playoff wild card picture here. It should be a fun one. I'm gonna take the points and the Bucks here.
Yeah, I mean the Bucks are not a good running team. They're one of the worst running teams in football, but Baker Mayfield is the best quarterback in that division. It's really not even close. He's been fantastic. This is his best season since 2020 when he took the Browns to the playoffs easily. And one might argue with the talent around him that this is his best season. He's found the fountain of youth down there, not too far away from where Ponce de Leon was looking for it. And so yeah, I like the Bucks here. I mean, we've liked the Packers, but what they showed last week at the Giants was a little puzzling. The fact that you're getting a field goal, I like it. Baker. Who would have thought that at the back in August that we'd be like, hey, yeah, Baker Mayfield's going to take this team to the playoffs. Right now, the Bucks have the best odds to win that division. Everybody, is tied up at 6 and 7 right now, and I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I like that pick.
Yeah, I'm actually all in on that. I am a huge fan of the Bucks passing attack because one thing that you have to take into account when you're talking about somebody doing so well passing the ball, even if it's just like from a schematic standpoint, if you have a bad running game, it is so much more difficult to have a good passing game. It's so impactful to the game having both sides of the offense working spectacularly. I mean, that's why we see the Ravens and the Niners playing so well, because even though the Ravens don't have any like spectacular superstar in the backfield athletically, what they do have is two guys, because now you've Lamar Jackson and Gus Edwards, but and the Niners have CMC obviously, but having a good rushing attack makes your offense better, and it gives you more space and better windows to pass the ball. So the fact that Mr. Buccaneer over here, Baker Mayfield, is having such a good year, even though it's really improbable.
Mr. Buccaneer, I love it. All right,
he's him.
Moving on, the Kansas City Chiefs at the New England Patriots. Chiefs obviously need a win. They have fallen on unusually hard times, but if ever there was an elixir for struggling, it is these New England Patriots.
Oh my goodness. As much as I would love for Bailey Zappi to come in here and just absolutely light up this Kansas City Chiefs team, I'm starting to be a little worried that might not happen, which is kind of a frustrating thing if you ask me. Listen, this game is either a blessing or it's a curse, and it depends on what side of the coin you are on in this Broncos Chiefs race. If you're a Broncos fan, you're sitting here going, why can't they get a harder team right now? They're down on their luck. They're crying about calls. Come on now. This is what we were waiting for. And you're going to give them the Patriots? If you're the Chiefs, you're like, thank God, at least the refs can't screw us out of this one, right? So I don't know. It is a blessing of a game for the Chiefs. 8.5 points is a larger spread, but I expect the Chiefs to go out there and really light up the scoreboard. I think Mahomes is still fired up, and if you know anything about Patrick Mahomes playing football, don't get him mad. He's kind of like the Hulk. It's kind of scary out there when he gets angry, I am personally scared for all those Patriot fans and what they're going to have to endure watching this game as an angry Chiefs team goes and takes the field. But man, if you're a Chiefs fan, I think it's going to be a great day for you. I'm gonna buy myself a point, actually bump it up to 9.5. I might even play 10 here. I just expect the Chiefs to get this one done. But I would love for the Patriots to do it. It's a rare day that I'm saying go Pats, but here we are, right? Okay, I'll let you take it away, Kyle.
Yeah, obviously, Petty Patrick is my favorite Patrick of all. When he is pissed off and wants to prove a point, he typically goes out and does it. And obviously, his outburst last week was really out of character. I think one of the things that he's been unshakable. I mean, and he's always the guy who's like, it's my fault. We got to do better. Same thing with Andy Reid. So for the fact that both of them said something about the officiating shows that I think what we saw last week was frustration for many weeks. It was not so much that one call. It was lots of calls and lots of drop passes. This team still continues to lead the league in drop passes. They have not cured that overnight. They probably won't. Fortunately, though, they're playing a team where it does not matter if you drop a lot of passes. I, in fact, have a little prop for this game. I am going to go the under at 35.5. I'm going to go with the Chiefs to cover that spread, and I'm going to go with Bailey Zappi not throwing a touchdown pass. I think this game is going to finish up around 24-7. I think the Chiefs win this game pretty easily, but I do think it's a low-scoring game because if the Patriots can do one thing, it's play some solid defense. I think the Chiefs will score to the mid-20s. The Chiefs defense, though, is very good. The Patriots offense is awful. Let's not forget the Chargers shut out the Patriots. The Chargers did the opposite of shutting out the Raiders on Thursday night. So if you're looking for an offense that really sucks, the New England Patriots is that offense. I think that alone keeps this game under. I'm even, right now the under is 37.5. I'm going to drop it down to 35.5 just because I get to make plus 416 on this prop. Again, mortgage your house, go ahead and buy 4 houses with your winnings. That's the way it works in sports betting always. So follow my advice, follow this prop. But yes, the Chiefs will rebound this week. They got a pretty easy schedule the rest of the way. Although they're going to need Baltimore to falter if they're going to catch the Ravens for that top seed. But I think that the Chiefs still right the ship a little bit, although the offense is going to be a struggle simply because the wide receiving core is a struggle.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of feels like a cupcake game. Like it's like if Georgia played like Georgia Technical Community College. It's gonna be. I can't say that I'll watch this game though, just because watching the Patriots play football is like one of the most negative things you can do as a fan. Like it makes me just not want to watch football anymore. But the Chiefs really need this week, and having a confidence booster game like this could be huge for them, especially with all the tension and all the media, all the media stuff from the last week. I really think that this is the perfect position for them to play the Patriots. I think anybody's perfect position is playing the Patriots, but the Chiefs get it this week, and it's the best week of all. So I'm going Chiefs minus 8.5.
It is wild that the greatest dynasty in the history of sports is now the greatest palate cleanser in the history of the NFL. All right, moving on. We've got actually good football going to be played in Jacksonville between the Baltimore Ravens. They are giving 3.5 points to the Jaguars.
Oh my goodness. If you're a fan of the show, you know how much I am all in on this Jacksonville team all year. I've been big fans of the man they call T Law with the long flowing locks down in Duval. Okay. But let me tell you what, he should have sat out last week. At the end of the day, I think like that we were talking about it on this show. It was still unclear at that point if he was going to play. He ends up going in there and playing, and uh, doesn't have the best day. The Jags not having their best performance out there, and even if he didn't look absolutely terrible, it's just the wear and tear of the game, right? This is a team that's looking to play good football in January, right? They had this, incredible historic comeback last time or last year in the playoffs against the Chargers. You really think that that can happen if you're going to have him battling through injuries in some games that honestly I don't really know if it's that much of a difference if he's in or out, to tell you the honest truth. it, it, it's hard for me to we were having these discussions about Justin Herbert last season too, right? When you have these young quarterbacks, they're never going to be, or any quarterback in general, they have this competitive fire. They always want to be out there on the field. That's where it takes the coach and the coaching staff and the medical team to come in and tell the dude, hey, you know what, this week we're not gonna push it. I think that you have to look and invest in long-term success. I think that if they had done that, Trevor Lawrence would go out there this week, be in a much better position to lead his team against a really good, formidable Baltimore Ravens team. I'm not going to say that that's going to be the deal breaker by any means. I think the Jags have been slipping the past couple weeks. I think that they haven't really been consistent. They've shown great highs, but at the end of the day, I don't think any of us are looking at them to be a real contender. They're much like the Detroit Lions in that sense, where we can appreciate their highs and their potential, but it's not at a level yet where we see them breaking through that higher echelon to really go compete for a Lombardi this year. That's where the Jags are for me. Whereas the Ravens, I think that they can go out there and compete. I think that they can really be, they're looking at this year being their year. They have great weapons to go do it. 3.5, I think, is a little low. I think it could be a 5, 6 point game. I really like this Ravens team. I'm going to go with the Ravens going in there and catching Duval while they're slipping.
I mean, you could look at this Ravens team in two different ways. I mean, obviously, they nearly lost to the Rams last week. And there are some cracks in that defense, but the Rams offense has played well. Kyren Williams has been fantastic. Matthew Stafford was really on last week. So you can look at it as, well, the Ravens nearly lost, but you can also look at it as, but that offense came from behind to win this game. And you've got Lamar Jackson now, who, Odell Beckham Jr. was nothing more than a showpiece to begin the season. He's now an actual contributor. You may remember that I mentioned that last week. I picked up Odell for my fantasy team after Tank Dell went down. I picked up Odell. He went for 97 and a touch last week, got me into the playoffs. So thank you, Mr. Beckham. And thank you, Lamar Jackson, for finding him in the end zone, because I won by a very narrow margin. You don't care so much about my fantasy football team as I do, but you do care about the Ravens and whether or not they're going to cover the spread. I think that the offense, even without Mark Andrews, I mean, Isaiah Likely was really involved in the offense. I like the way this offense is coming together. The Jaguars defense, which we thought was pretty good to begin the year, definitely showing some cracks. I mean, they just got torn apart by Joe Flacco. Will they get torn apart by Lamar Jackson? Yes, I think they will. And because of that, I like this. I think maybe your 5 points, 6 points is even modest. I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens, win this by 7 or 8. They're right now they're the best team in the AFC, and I don't think that they leave this game looking anything but like the best team in the AFC.
I agree. I mean, the Ravens are clearly the best team in the AFC. I don't think that right now that there's any competition after a couple of losses from big teams, at least from a record standpoint too. But I think last week it's not a detriment to the team. Like, letting up a lot of points to the Rams isn't like, that's, everybody lets up a lot of points to the Rams now.
Oh, we lost Ben again. Oh, go ahead and continue. Ben will come back and join us here shortly.
All right. Well, I just think that welcome back.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, what's up? Sorry, I have no clue what just happened.
I got put in the big box real quick. But I think that last week isn't a detriment to like their team. I think they still have a great defense, one of the better defenses in the league. If anybody is going to compete right now with an NFC team in the playoffs for that Super Bowl, I mean, I think a lot of NFL fans are going to be picking the Ravens right now just because of how well they're playing. I have to go with the Ravens minus 3.5. I actually think they might win by a touchdown.
Yeah, and Lamar Jackson's probably not going to win the MVP award, but I think this is his best season since he did win the MVP. But I don't think there's much question about that. All right. Speaking of those Los Angeles Rams, they are hosting the Washington Commanders. And as mentioned earlier in the show, the Washington Commanders are a major disappointment.
Yeah, you know what? It's hard to believe that at the beginning of the season, we were all punching our tickets for this Commanders hype train. And you know what? I apologize, guys, for making that graphic. I should have asked you if you wanted to go down with me this year. That was really rude on me. I just kind of put you guys on there. But dang, Howell can throw the ball. He can spin it. The roster has some youth and some flair that I really will be looking forward to watching develop over the next few seasons. I'm gonna be very excited to watch them without the boy Riverboat Ron at the helm. I'm gonna tell you what. you want to talk about coaches that just really hold back a roster. I mean, we'll talk about Staley later, I'm sure. Or maybe no, we won't talk about Staley. We'll talk about Staley at some point. But it, this guy is just holding back just a fun young roster. And we've said this multiple times. It's hard to believe that this is the fun dude from Carolina, in 2015, because all of that creativity has just been absolutely zapped. Maybe it's just the what happens when you go and FedEx every weekend, right? Like you just get the life drained out of you. But I, you know, it's a damn shame, And what's cool though is the LA Rams are a prime example of youth, fun, and a fun head coach that knows how to use some creativity to maybe get some more out of the roster than other coaches would, right? Like, can you imagine if Rivera was coaching the Rams right now? We would not be seeing, the performance that they've given us throughout this season. I think the Rams just go out there and absolutely slaughter at home. There's, still playing good football. Commanders are kind of just waiting for the offseason at this point. I like the Rams to have the 7 here.
In our defense, you got Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, and obviously Sam Howell shows some stuff. Then you had a defense that had the best defensive front in football. So back in August and September, there was lots of reason to like the Commanders, but this is really a case of the sum of the parts not equaling the individual parts, and I blame Rivera for that. He's taken these good players and he's created a bad team with them, and you've got to be a bad coach in order to do that. Obviously, Chase Young has gone on to San Francisco, much better as a 49er. Montez Sweat looks like a great Chicago Bear, not so much as a Commander. So I look forward to a new coach taking over the Commanders. In the meantime, the Rams. So Kyren Williams last year as a rookie had 210 yards of offense total the entire season. This year, he's averaging 110 per game. That is 4th in the NFL. The 3 guys ahead of him right now for yards from scrimmage per game: Tyreek Hill, he's pretty good. Christian McCaffrey, he's pretty good. And CeeDee Lamb, he's pretty good. Kyren Williams is only bested by those 3 guys. This guy is a stud. He's going to have a big game against the Commanders because their best defensive players are now playing for somewhere else. And I think the Rams are going to continue to roll. As long as Williams is healthy, this offense is going to be good. And I'm not going to be surprised at all if the Rams end up as a playoff team by the end of the year, because that's how much I like this offense. Puka Nacua deservedly got a lot of the early season press for the Rams, but Kyren Williams has been the engine that makes this entire thing go.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to like the Commanders being a mess and the Rams really just finding their stride. We were talking a little earlier in the season about how Matt Stafford was the gunslinger that's thrown for less than 200 yards and he's throwing a touchdown and a pick every game just a couple of weeks ago. And now, even in a loss, he has an incredible game. I mean, maybe we could have had a little bit of higher completion percentage there, but almost 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. There's no complaints you can make about that. And he spread the ball around. I mean, and then Kyren Williams is playing out of his mind. You already talked about him enough. The Rams overall just look like a significantly better team than we thought they would be, even at the start of the season. And then like halfway through the season, we were still doubting them. But I think at this point, they're really putting all the pieces together. They found the back that's really the guy that can take like load carries. And then with that, it makes the whole gunslinging thing even better. And we're just going back to the whole thing about the passing game being better if there's a good running game. It all comes together. This is why these teams are succeeding. So I got to pick the Rams -7.
Well, to your point, Tommy, Matthew Stafford's last 3 games: 229, 4 touchdowns, a pick; 279, 3 touchdowns, no picks; 294, 3 touchdowns, no picks. That's 10 touchdowns, 1 pick, and averaging, like 275 yards a game. That's prime Matthew Stafford. That's not old over the hill, I'm banged up Matthew Stafford. And if that Matthew Stafford plays these next 4 weeks, Rams are dangerous. All right, your last game, Ben. Speaking of old over the hill quarterbacks who all of a sudden look like they're in their prime, how about that Joe Flacco guy?
All right. Fine. It's time for me to say it. It's time for me to say it. Maybe it wasn't Flacco. Maybe it was the Broncos. Okay, fine. Okay, you got me to say it. Are you happy? You guys are terrible. Anyone wishing upon my downfall. Okay, that was painful to say, but yeah, okay. Maybe the organization was going through some turmoil. Okay, I don't know. Okay, whatever. Maybe he can still spin it. Okay. Maybe his spiral still is the prettiest thing flying in the air. And I've seen a Boeing 737. Okay. Like, I don't know. See, this guy can sling it, can't he? And it goes up there and it drops like a freaking precision missile from World War II. Okay. They know exactly where it's going to land, and it's right there in the arms. And goodness, the Browns go from just absolute disaster at quarterback all year to a real contender now? What? With Joe Flacco? Joe Flacco, whose bingo card had this crap on it, right? Now, the Bears have looked good in a couple recent weeks, and I know that the city of Chicago would hate me if I didn't bring that up in their defense. However, you've been playing division opponents. There's a fire in your stomach to go out there and compete, and you still got that ugly orange C on your helmet. What do you think's going to change? Okay, like, I get it. Congratulations, you showed up and caught the Lions when they were sleeping. But you know what? A lot of people could to that team. I'm not gonna lie. They've been slipping the past couple of weeks. We even talked about how they could do it, right? So I'm not convinced that this Bears team is for real, right? And neither should you, fans of Chicago. You deserve better. Why are you going to sit here and lie to yourself? Okay, just because you saw a few good weeks of entertaining football. Don't do that to yourself. You deserve more. You deserve to see that 17 times a season. Come on now. Don't fall for the trap that is Eberflus and this dog shit organization, okay? Demand better from yourselves. Okay, it's not your fault that the Cleveland Browns are going to just absolutely rail you. Okay, it's going to be ugly. Okay, but get that Malort going, get that old style pumping, and it's going to be okay. Okay, I like the Browns here. They got a lot more to play for, obviously. Wild card hopes, division, playoff hopes in general. So, yeah, dude, and the Bears are the Bears. What more can I say? But yeah, I'm sorry, Joe Flacco. And I'm sorry, Tommy Birch. There we go.
I was listening to the Athletic Football Show. I believe it was Robert Mays, who happens to be a Bears fan. And he mentioned how if you're the Bears and you've got a quarterback you're not sure of who is now entering his fourth year and you've got to make a decision on, or you're unsure about a quarterback who you can draft and have 4 to 5 years of financial control over, who do you go with? Well, you go with the guy who's cheap. You go with the guy who has not shown himself in the NFL yet. So even as Justin Fields has looked better the last month, it really makes more sense for the Bears to go with a quarterback with that number 1 overall pick that they're going to get, thanks to the Carolina Panthers. That's the great thing. The Bears can actually show some life here this last month of the season, as they have. They can play pretty good football. They can stack some W's. And they are the first overall pick is not in jeopardy. It's really a wonderful place to be if you're a Chicago Bears fan. That said, though, it's really a wonderful place to be if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, because you're now on your 4th starting quarterback of the season. And it took Joe Flacco 2 games to have a better game than Deshaun Watson has had in his 2 years as a Cleveland Brown. Flacco goes for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. The last time Deshaun Watson did that, it was 2020, and he was a Houston Texan. And he was, at that point, we all thought, still a good dude. So Joe Flacco signed a contract this week, so he's no longer getting stuck on the practice squad. Not for a lot of money. But what I love about Joe Flacco is that they asked him how much he was going to be making, and he did not know. He did not care. This is a guy who came back to play football because he loves football. The reason he is playing for the Cleveland Browns is because he wants to play football. It had nothing to do with a paycheck. This was a guy who was 3 weeks ago was watching football at his mom's house on Thanksgiving. Now he is leading the 5th seed in the AFC. No team has had bigger impact or impactful injuries than the Browns that are actually still winning. And it's because of this guy who is 38 years old and we all thought was washed up. Instead, though, this guy, as you mentioned, Ben, he throws a pretty ball. And go back, and I don't have the numbers in front of me because I don't. Go and look at his blitz numbers these 2 weeks. He against the blitz, and this is why a veteran quarterback is so valuable as a backup quarterback, because the defenses think, oh, this guy sucks. Well, he's a backup. We'll go ahead and blitz. And Joe Flacco knows what's happening. He knows what's happening on the field. He sees everything. Not only does he throw a pretty ball, but he's been in the NFL for years, and he understands what he's looking at. And that makes a huge difference, and it's why the Cleveland Browns right now are playing great football, and it's why they will cover the spread against the Chicago Bears.
Not to toot my own horn or anything, but this whole Flacco elite revolution, I was leading the charge the second he got signed. But you know,
you were early. You were early. Calm down.
Hey, you know, and when Ben O'Connell says that the reason that the Browns are going to cover is because of their defense and not the quarterback, and then they lose because of the defense and not the quarterback, you know, maybe, yeah. I'm just saying. But hey, look, the Flacco meter, it's on elite right now. We're breaking the scale. I really love because the Cleveland Browns team has talent. It has weapons, and even their $200 million guy wasn't getting the ball to his weapons. And you spend all this money on this guy who you expect to go out there, and you're giving him all this guaranteed money, and then you put in a veteran quarterback off the couch. How old is he? 35?
38.
38. That's even worse. He came straight off the couch at 38 years old in 1 week.
Let's not call old people worse. All right, the older you are doesn't mean the worse you are. All right, can we establish that?
It progresses the end of your football career, Kyle. I think we can all agree on that.
All right,
and 38 is well past average. So all I'm saying is, if a guy at 38 years old who hasn't played a snap for this football team walks in there 2 weeks in a row, it's not a fluke, and he's playing great football, he's playing smart football too. Like, he is the Joe Flacco game manager that we know he is, and he doesn't have to play under a terrible like Jets system or you know, get his entire career ruined by the Broncos or damn, I'm taking shots on bed today. But like Chicago is just so like not organized. Like they're all over the place. You don't know like because all this talk about, oh, are they going to keep Justin Fields? Like, there's so much worse about the team than just Justin Fields. There's a lot of problems that need to be addressed outside of the quarterback position, and yeah, a lot of it stems from the quarterback position. But even if they had somebody solid starting at quarterback, I would still think the Browns are more primed to win this game.
Well, you know, Kevin Stefanski's already been a coach of the year, and the job he's done this year has been fantastic. Again, 4 starting quarterbacks, and Tommy, just to follow up on you, I think as we've seen, everybody thrives when they get away from that stiff John Elway. So good on Joe Flacco. All right. Thank you, Ben. We appreciate your assistance with those 5 games. Now we move on. Tommy Birch, and he is going to start with his San Francisco 49ers facing the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, so this is actually a bit of a tough one for me because as much as I love my Niners and the Cardinals are trash, Cardinals are coming off of a bye, and the Niners just came off of a lot of really big competition, and it's any given Sunday. You know that good teams lose to the worst teams at the worst times. It's how it works. However, as you can see down there, I did not pick the Arizona Cardinals, despite it being the bye week, and I would actually take that into account because this Gannon Cardinals team, even when they lose, they fight. They do. They battle it out. Even if they make mistakes, there's nobody putting their heads down. They're all like ready to win. I think that Gannon's actually gonna do a pretty good job over there long term. I think maybe next year after, he can make something happen over there. However, that's not this year. This year, they happen to be coming off the bye and playing the best team in football, and this team just smacked around not only a divisional rival, but clobbered on what was the number one seed in football before them. It's not looking good for the Cardinals. If you guys want to start like digging some Cardinal graves, I wouldn't, I would recommend it. I'm kind of worried about the well-being of these Cardinals fans. But I'm gonna have to go with the 49ers minus 12.5.
Well, this year and last year, these two teams have played 3 times. The 49ers won by 28, the 49ers won by 25, and the 49ers won by 19. They have, in the last 2 years, beaten the crap out of the Arizona Cardinals, and there's no reason to think that they won't beat the crap out of the Cardinals again, because they have been beating the crap out of everybody since they came off their own bye. This is the best team in the NFL right now. This is the most fun offense to watch in football. There are so many ways they can beat you. I think the 49ers cover this spread going away. I would not at all be surprised if this is another 3 to 4 touchdown win for the 49ers, because the Cardinals simply are not a good football team.
Yeah, I agree with you, gentlemen. The 49ers look like the best team in football right now, and I can't wait to see who upsets them in the postseason, because golly, that's going to be a great game, isn't it? Right, Tommy, isn't it? Okay. I don't think they're going to lose this week. In fact, I think there's going to be a scoring fiesta. My prop is in this game. In fact, I have a single game parlay where we're going to get a McCaffrey touchdown and a Deebo Samuel touchdown. That's coming in at plus 136 to see both of these guys in the end zone, giving me plus money. I'm going to take that any day of the week. Monday, Thursday, Sunday, the occasional Saturday game does not matter to me. Punch me some of that action. So that is my prop for the week. And I'm pretty excited about it. I'm not gonna lie, because I enjoy making money.
I love it too.
All right. Moving on back to the NFC South. The Atlanta Falcons at the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers are the one team who cannot win this division. Everybody else, though, can.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna let you know, if you decide to watch this football game, I care for your well-being, and if you need to talk to anybody, I'm here. The fact that this Falcons team, who is 6-7, this Falcons team is almost 500. And this Panthers team, what's the Panthers record exactly?
They're 1-12.
1-12. 1-12 versus 6-7. And the Falcons are 3-point favorites. That is indicative not of the Panthers being good, but the Falcons being the worst 6-7 team in football. And this is a consistent trend. When Bijan Robinson doesn't get 15 touches, 15 handoffs and 5 receptions, 20 touches a game at least. If it's less than that, they lose. That's the plain and simple of it. You're not getting the ball into your best player's hands. Now, I will say, I think the Buccaneers played very well last week. And I think that they deserve that win, but it doesn't take away from the fact that the Falcons are a major disappointment, one of the biggest disappointments in football this year. And they have so much talent. We've been wondering if Drake London was actually a good football player for years, for 2 years now. And now he's 172 yards on 10 receptions. And I mean, you saw some of the catches in that game. Like, this dude, he's a
good
football player. He's a football player. And the problem is
Kyle Pitts got to the end zone too. What the hell?
Yeah, finally. Like if you can do that every game and then just give Bijan Robinson 5 more handoffs instead of giving an equal amount of handoffs to Tyler Algier. It is terrible football. And And there's got to be a point where you got to like figure out what you're doing with Cordero Patterson too. Like he was an all pro level player like a year or two ago, and then you just completely take him out of the offense. Like there's just a lot of stupidity in this Falcons organization, but I can't pick against I have to pick against the Panthers. If I don't pick against the Panthers, especially with a team that has offensive capability, whereas the Panthers don't at all, so at least the ceiling's a little higher. At 3 points, I would be doing the fans and the viewers a disservice if I did not pick the Falcons. As much as I would love for the Falcons to lose this game and Arthur Smith can get the boot, it's not going to happen.
Well, the Panthers not only are 1-12 straight up, they have the worst record against the spread. So you definitely don't want to take the Panthers because they are 2-9-2 against the spread. That is dead last in the NFL. They are not a good team. They're not a good team against the spread, no matter how badly, no matter how big the spread gets, they still somehow figure a way to not cover it. In my opinion, there are 2 reasons to watch this game, and only 2 reasons. One, every time they show Arthur Smith on TV, for you to shout, "You suck," as loud as you can, and then to watch and see if Koo can retake the all-time field goal percentage. He had it for a week. He lost it this last week. Maybe he can take it back here on Sunday. Those are the 2 only reasons to watch the Atlanta Falcons, shouting at Arthur Smith and cheering for the bet. Well, and of course, when Koo is on TV, like the Falcons fans, you Koo. That's the only reason to watch this game. That's all. That's all I have.
Gentlemen, I gotta admit, I was a little disappointed when the NFL didn't like my change.org petition to flex this game as the halftime entertainment of whatever college bowl game was going on at noon. Okay? Because I think A, it would be better for everyone for this to only last 15 minutes, and B, you'd have more fans in the seats. Okay? Like, come on now. Who is showing up to these games? Okay? Who wants to really sit there and bang the keep pounding drum? Does the drum even say that anymore? Keep pounding, or does it just say pounding question mark? Okay, like what is happening to this team? What is the NFC South? Why do we all have to pretend like it is fun? Why do we have to pretend like it is football? It is absolutely horrible. I rather go watch the Butler Grizzlies and whatever JUCO game they have this weekend. But yeah, if I'm gonna make money, I you gotta take it. Gotta take dumb lines. This is a dumb line. Atlanta Falcons 3 every day of the week. Yeah, let's go make some money, right?
Yeah, no, I could absolutely see this game as like the halftime entertainment, the Myrtle Beach Bowl between Georgia Southern and Ohio, or the Celebration Bowl with Florida A&M versus Howard. This would feel like a worthy halftime show for any.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like the Little Tykes football game that they put like.
Yeah.
You can play them against the mascots. They can join forces.
Yeah.
Buzz them out there and strap the flags on their hips like this game deserves. With this, they don't deserve to get to tackle each other. This isn't football. Okay, this is flag shit.
I mean, obviously, that Myrtle Beach Bowl is right there in South Carolina, so they're in North Carolina for this game. It's like an hour down the road. Just go, just do that. All right, Tommy. You've got the New York Giants at the New Orleans Saints. That is a 6-point spread. Saints giving 6 to the Giants.
I don't think the Saints have played good enough to merit a 6-point favorite against this Giants team. Because as much as I will say, I don't think this Giants team is anything crazy spectacular at all. I don't think they're spectacular. I think that they've played well. I think they've played good football. And I think they will continue to play good football. But it's nothing that can't be beat, you know? However, I've never seen Brian Daboll yell at Tommy DeVito, scream in his face. I have seen him scream in every other quarterback's face that has started for this organization. Tyrod Taylor, he screamed in Tyrod's face, and Tyrod's only had like 5 attempts as a New York Giant. Like, and then, and he always yells at Daniel Jones. But when Tommy DeVito's around, he's happy. And when Brian Abel's happy, I'm happy. He's a jolly looking guy when he's happy, but when he's angry, he scares me a little bit. But I think it's this consistent level of play is from and I'm just gonna bring up DeVito right now. This consistent level of play, and he's playing the position how he's being asked to. He's a great systematic backup right now, and he has better pocket presence than Daniel Jones ever did. If you see him, I mean, last game he ran for 71 yards on 10 carries, and you watch him like dropping back for pass. He actually has he has great pocket awareness. He can sense the pocket collapsing around him. He has great footwork. One thing that Daniel Jones does is that he chokes up. When you put him in a position like that, Daniel Jones goes crazy. He needs to he makes a terrible decision. Tommy DeVito is confident in himself. I think if Daniel Jones had Tommy DeVito's confidence, Daniel Jones would be significantly better of a football player. And then we go to the Saints. The Saints haven't really proven to me. They lost to the Falcons by 9. They lost to the Lions by 5, and the Lions haven't been having a great stretch of football either. And okay, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to consider beating the Panthers any kind of crazy achievement. I'm not. And to merit that kind of, and they lost to the Vikings before that. This 4-game stretch to merit beating a Giants team that hasn't lost in a month, I just don't understand it. I think the Giants. I think the Giants could win this game. They could. I really do believe it. But I think that the Saints they're more consistent when it comes to scoring the ball. But I do think the Giants are going to keep it within 6 for sure.
So you started off by saying the Giants aren't anything spectacular, and you're going to have to answer to the Sean Stiletto and Tommy DeVito crime families there in New Jersey. Sean, of course, the agent for Tommy DeVito, who I was informed earlier this evening that he is now in the New Jersey Sports Hall of Fame, or was that DeVito that one of them has been inducted into the?
Oh no, it's the agent. He got inducted into something. We should look it up.
Not a real Hall of Fame, it doesn't sound like, but somebody who has claimed a Hall of Fame has put the agent into the Hall of Fame. Look, right now, every quarterback in the NFL is asking their moms to figure out how to make chicken cutlets because apparently that is the new training food in the NFL. Tommy DeVito has gone over 100 passing rating for 3 straight weeks. That is the longest current streak in the NFL. Nobody else has 3 straight games of 100 passer rating or better. Tommy DeVito does. And in this last game, he ran for 71 yards against those Packers. This is a guy who does it all. This is basically a combination of Joe Montana and Michael Vick. We're seeing a renaissance in NFL quarterbacks. Tommy DeVito is the guy. Tommy DeVito is inevitable. The Tommy DeVito wave cannot be stopped. Tommy DeVito will win this game outright. The Giants aren't just going to cover the 6 points. Tommy DeVito is going to lead them because the New Orleans Saints are an absolute train wreck right now. Mickey Loomis, their GM, is shouting at the fans to stop selling your tickets to people from out of town from other teams. And the fans are saying, put a better product on the field and we'll stop selling our tickets. And then, of course, you've got all the players that are infighting as well. And Derek Carr is being paid $40 million to look terrible as compared to Tommy DeVito, who's making like $200,000 this year. I love the Giants. I love Tommy DeVito. It'd be, man, how much fun must it be right now to be a Giants fan? Giants all the way. Tommy DeVito for president, and that's all.
Much like Dable, Tommy, and Kyle here, I have nothing bad to say about Tommy DeVito. I absolutely have nothing. And that's because I don't want to be waking up in the Hudson or not waking up. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a real thing, right? Like someone tell me that his dad owns a trash service. I would believe you. You know what I'm saying? Like let's just go out there and say that. But oh my goodness, could that guy ball as he was taking money out of my pockets because I was a Jordan Love fanboy like the dumbass that I am. This kid was just amazing me. Some of these throws that he was making into the Mamma Mia's or whatever you call it. I don't know. But I loved it. I loved every second of this. And this is a great win for the New York Giants. I mean, you get to have this nice little flair at the end of the year because it makes you kind of forget about the crap show that was the first half of the season, and it makes you believe that next year this kid can do it. Now, we don't have to be the ones to break that bad news to the Giants fans. Time will do that, okay? But right now, let's just live in the Tommy DeVito era of the amazing Italian gunslinger, and let's live it up. I love the New York Giants to win this outright as well. Yeah, let's go, Tommy, huh?
I think the NFL right now is living DeVito Loca, right? Right? Anyone? No?
Kyle.
All right. All right. Moving on to the Detroit Lions and the Denver Broncos. So Tommy, I have to confess, before you got on tonight, I was talking to Ben and I said that you picking the Broncos was the kiss of death, and that this was a guarantee that the Lions were going to run away with this game. Feel free to tell me why I am stupid for saying such a thing.
Well, I'm going to call you stupid because you're mean, and that's not very nice of you to say.
That's true.
And just because I am rooting for my friend's team, that the kiss of death. What kind of person do you think I am? You think I would do that to somebody? Look at this pretty face. This cute little face. You think I would harm a soul? No, I would never do that. The only thing that harms anything is the Lions harming themselves. The last time they won a football game that was supposed to be competitive with a team of their caliber was in week 1. Their schedule has been so easy. You lose to the Seahawks week 2, and you let the Panthers drop 24 points on you. I don't care if you scored 42 points. You let the Panthers score 24 points on you. Just if you take a look, all of the viewers, go take a look at the schedule and the Lions, the games they've played this year. I can count right now, and I wouldn't even include the Bears. I think that they should be a better team than the Bears. 1, 2, 3 games this season where they have matched up against somebody that should be a competitive opponent. And they have won one of them, and it was in week 1. And we all know that week 1, it doesn't mean anything.
And Kadarius Toney gave that game away.
Of course. This Lions team is starting to give me fluke vibes. I hate to say it because I love the Lions and I want to see them succeed, and I love Snoil. I'm sorry, Ben, I do. I love Snoil, but the Broncos have shown themselves as a significantly more competent football team. You take a look at the two schedules compared to each other. It's like apples and oranges. This Broncos team has beat some of the best teams in football. And in the games that they don't win, they're close. Like I was, and the best part is it's just Broncos football right now is fun to watch all around. Because wow. Ben, I'm just talking about. See, if I was talking about any other team like this, it would be a regular part of the show. But when I talk about the Broncos like that, because I never have, it's a whole shebang. But every game that the Broncos play, even if they lose, it is fun to watch and it's competitive. Whereas the Lions, they die on their own mistakes, and they are too inconsistent. I think the Broncos win this game outright because I think the Broncos are a significantly better football team than the Chicago Bears.
So you can check my math on this. This all plays out, and this is exactly how the NFL works. So Denver Broncos played the Los Angeles Chargers, and they beat them by 17 points. Los Angeles Chargers on Thursday night just lost by 41 points to the Raiders. So that means the Raiders are 24 points better than the Denver Broncos. The Raiders played the Lions earlier this year, and they lost by 12 to the Lions. So that means that the Denver Broncos are going to lose by 36 points to the Detroit Lions. The math checks out. You don't need to go in and look at it. It does. And that's exactly how the NFL works. Week to week, you can just do the numbers and figure out exactly what the final score will be because of what has happened in the past. Denver Broncos will lose by 36 points to the Detroit Lions. Take it to the bank. Snoil back on top. recover from some of their bad play this last few weeks, Denver Broncos, they're not going to cover the 4-point spread. They're not going to cover the 4-point spread in the first 4 minutes of the game. That's take it to the bank. Fact. That's all.
Listeners, what we just heard is a man just clinging on to a 1-game lead in the AFC West. That, listeners, is what we're hearing. That he's holding on to that thing to dear life, going, please, Bailey Zappi, don't do it to us this week, please. I'm telling you guys, this Broncos team, all their dangers, aren't they? Now, this is a hard week for me, and I knew it was going to be a hard week since the schedule came out, because I looked at it and said, this is my 2 favorite teams in the whole world going at it. Okay, it's the Denver Broncos. I bleed orange. Okay, it doesn't matter what time of year it is. It's always Broncos country. Okay, and we got the Snoil, the lovable underdogs. Like the Abilene Christian colleges of the March Madnesses, okay? That everyone loves a good 16 seed. But let me tell you what, this Broncos team is looking, and they only have one person separating them in the playoffs, and that person's in the mirror. They know that their destiny is in their hands, and they know that this team is the hardest opponent on their schedule that they got remaining, and a team that matches up with them perfectly. The Detroit Lions, I think, are lately. I think they're going to turn the ball over. I think that we will see some Lion turnovers in some big moments. I expect a pick or two in some really crucial drives, and for Russell Wilson to be able to take it down the field and engineer some amazing touchdowns, as long as Jerry Jeudy can learn how to get both feet into the end zone with no one around him, because that was a disgrace to football. Okay, I know over 100 receivers in college right now that could make a 2-foot catch with that much space that Jerry just, it was horrible to watch. But yeah, no, the Broncos are super competitive right now. This is a team of destiny. Doubt them, continue to, please. They were underdogs against the Chargers. I don't care that they're underdogs this week. What does Vegas know? Absolutely nothing. They welcomed the Raiders with open arms. And obviously the city is full of a bunch of brainiacs, obviously, right? Uh, I don't know. I just really think that this Broncos team is rolling. I think that the Detroit Lions are slipping. I think this is a perfect time for the Broncos to catch this team. Call me crazy, but I like them to do it. I'm gonna take the Broncos to win outright.
The other thing really that you can count on with the Broncos is that there will be a pass that'll be 8 yards beyond the boundary, and somehow the 6'2" Cortland Sutton will get both feet in. That is as bad as Jerry Jeudy is at getting his feet down. Cortland Sutton makes up for it by somehow managing to get in bounds with a shoelace. Yeah, he's been spectacular. He's been a highlight reel every week, and he is a lot of fun to watch. But the rest of the Broncos, But Cortland Sutton, yeah, give me more Cortland Sutton. All right, moving on. Minnesota Vikings at the Cincinnati Bengals. Nick Mullins versus Jake Browning, just as we all envisioned back when the schedule came out last May.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what we all saw. This wasn't going to be a matchup between Kirk Cousins and younger Kirk Cousins. But now it's just a guy who may vaguely resemble Kirk Cousins, and then Jake Browning. I don't know what his face looks like. Is that wrong of me?
I don't
know. But I will say though, I might not be watching enough post-game interviews, but Jake Browning actually looks all right, guys. Jake Browning looks like he is taking over as the perfect replacement for Joe. I think we need to work a little bit on like the turnover to touchdown ratio. We could maybe like flesh that out a little bit. But in 5 games, which I don't even know how many games has he started, he has almost 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 picks. And he's only been sacked 9 times, which is pretty on pace for how much Joe Burrow is getting sacked, if not a little bit less. I am a huge fan of this turnaround with the Bengals team because we thought once Joe Burrow was gone, it was going to be game over. However, I don't want to discredit Nick Mullins in any way because Nick Mullins has had a history of being a pretty decent backup quarterback. I mean, he played a lot of games for San Francisco, and he played pretty well with those minutes. I mean, he was backup third string guy, like, and he's a quality backup quarterback with actual starting experience, more than some, and he has a nice little mixture of being a veteran but also being young. He has the experience of playing for a couple of different systems as well, but he also has a little bit of youth to him. So it's a nice little. He's in that perfect gray area, I think, for backup quarterbacks, where he's still moldable, but he's also been around the block. Um, but obviously, Jake Browning is playing better than some starters in this league right now, statistically. Um, and I can't go against the Bengals right now. I made sure to check the injury report. Everything's looking all right. Jamar Chase has been was full practice on Thursday. So that's always nice to know. He went from did not practice to limited full, and Tyler Boyd full practice. We're looking at we're just looking at a good Bengals team right now. I think if Joe Burrow stepped in here, this would be an incredible Bengals team. And I know Joe Burrow had a little bit of mistake making earlier in the year, but I really do think that this team was primed for late season success, as it always is. We always talk about the Bengals like, oh, they always start off slow. 2 years in a row, start off slow, they come back. They play really well in the second half of the season, make the playoffs, make a decent run. That's the kind of the Bengals that I think we're going to see from now on because this is the third year in a row that it should have happened, and it might still happen with a backup quarterback. I like this Bengals team a lot, and I'm going to have to go with -3.
Well, so obviously Joshua Dobbs has come back crashing down to earth in a horrific way. He was the toast of the town, the darling of the NFL. Now he's the third string quarterback. They knocked him all the way down to third string. Jaron Hall is going to be Nick Mullins' backup on Sunday. It's going to happen to Tommy DeVito, as sad as it is to think about. That storybook run is going to end, and so is the Jake Browning storybook run. Although I don't think it ends this week. I do think that Browning has another couple of weeks in him, but he's going to finish the season against the Chiefs and the Browns, two very good defenses. And my guess is that the Jake Browning story does end in week 17 and 18. But in the purposes for week 15, I think that probably the Bengals still are going to be victorious. It's a modest spread against a team that is shuffling their quarterbacks once again. This is also a team that is now starting a fourth quarterback this year. The Vikings defense is sneaky good. They've only given up 13 points in the last 2 weeks, but their offense is, I mean, they scored 10 points against the Bears. They scored 3 points against the Raiders. This offense is a struggle. The Bengals should have no problem. Just get the ball to Jamar Chase and let him do his thing, and the Bengals win by 7 points.
Yeah, I think one of those things that's really helping Browning out is just the fact that, the Bengals are loaded, right? Like, and it becomes so much easier if you're stepping up as a backup, if you're stepping up with a wide receiver room that the Bengals have compared to like if you were to step up in Green Bay, right? With who they got over there, or God forbid, Kansas City. I really I think that the Bengals are not to say that Joe Burrow doesn't obviously add a lot to this team, but there are ways to win without him against lower opponents in the league, like I think the Minnesota Vikings are. I think Kyle is correct that we're gonna see an eventual fall off the cliff from these backups making some really fun storylines right now. But you know, I for Browning to fall off that cliff. I think that his story needs to be elevated a little bit more, and I think that this game is going to add to that little bit of lore around him before this fatal crash at the end of the season. But yeah, I'm with you guys. I like the Bengals here to cover or to cover the 3 here, and yeah.
One thing that I real quick, one thing that I don't think is talked about enough is like if you're going to have a short-term quarterback injury, having it closer to the middle end of the season is probably best, just because if you had to choose, because you're putting a guy in who's completely healthy, because these quarterbacks get banged up, man, and that might be an unpopular opinion of mine, but if you're gonna step in for anybody and you're a fresh set of legs, like that's one of the reasons why I think that maybe Joe Flacco and these younger guys are playing pretty well, is because they're getting the opportunity when the rest of the league is worn out, and they've just been playing in practice, waiting for their opportunity. I like to think that has something to do with it.
This is the first time in Joe Flacco's career that he's ever been called a fresh set of legs. And Ben, I will put Blaine Gabbert up against any backup quarterback your Denver Broncos can proffer. I will not stand here and listen to Blaine Gabbert slander from you. That is a good backup quarterback right there.
No. I was saying the receiver room. Your receiver room. If you're a young backup quarterback looking for trying to find success, yeah, you maybe could throw it to Kelsey, but one of the other dudes is probably lined up off sides anyway, right? So like, that receiver room is killing you.
In my defense, I'm on my 3rd eggnog, and I might have misunderstood what you said. So fair enough. All right. Thank you, Tommy. Those are your 5 games. We appreciate it as always. I will now move to the large box because apparently my lighting in my new apartment are not very good. I'm rather dark.
You look bronze, man.
Yeah, well, if you saw me in personally, I am about as the color of mayonnaise. It's not a good thing. All right. Houston Texans at the Tennessee Titans. Houston Texans are about the most injured team in football right now. So Nico Collins also not practicing this week, along with Tank Dell, of course, is out. CJ Stroud has been ruled out. Larry Tunsil hasn't been practicing. There's Dalton Schultz hasn't been practicing. The right guard hasn't been practicing. The right tackle hasn't been practicing. There's like 4 good players on defense that haven't been practicing, including Will Anderson, the stud rookie. So I am going to go with the Tennessee Titans. As much as I hate Will Levis, he looked really good last week against the Miami Dolphins. This team looked good. I mean, Derrick Henry's still finding the end zone. I love it. I love seeing old man Henry still do it. And I hate the idea that the Texans season is coming undone because of injuries. But this is the NFL. That's what happens. In December, you got to be healthy, and they are not healthy at all. And I think that this team is going to fall out of the playoffs. And the Tennessee Titans are going to play spoiler again. They knocked off a good Miami Dolphins team in Miami. Now they're at home against a really banged up Texans team. I've got the Titans winning this game. The spread at the beginning of the week was 2.5. That's the spread that we're playing. It's moved up to 3.5. I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans win this game by 7 to 10 points because the Texans just don't have anything. And they just got their ass kicked by Zach Wilson. As bad as Will Levis is, he's better than Zach Wilson. So yeah, Titans all the way.
Guys, can't we all agree? Don't we love the fire that Will Levis got? Like, this dude loves football. And there's not a lot of guys that put their bodies on the line.
I love football too.
I know you love football, Kyle. But until you strap on the pads and go play quarterback with the Titans offensive line, I don't think you're allowed to talk about loving football.
I'm sorry. I will hear you out, and then we can retort.
I think that Will Levis, as much as like he has his faults as a passer, he's young. He makes mistakes. He's a gunslinger. Like he's gonna turn the ball over a little bit, but at least he's not gonna be the guy that hangs his head when he does it. If he throws a pick, he's going to be going after him and trying to make a tackle. If he hands the ball off, he's carrying out his fake, and if they bounce it outside, he's going to set a block. Will Levis was yelling at DeAndre Hopkins in his second start ever. And honestly, I love it. Holding your guys accountable and not, treating anybody different and being the leader that they need because they don't have one. It's a respectable thing. I think that although Will Levis may not be a great quarterback, like when it comes to this quarterback skills, he has all of the necessary tools to get there. And he has shown it so far this season. I think we've seen a lot of good things from him, and the Texans are just, they're in the hospital, man. They're filling up all the beds. It's not cool. I hate it because, especially, I think all of us do, because this Texans team is so much fun, and then just seeing this happen in such an important time of the season just stinks, man. But you have to pick the Titans here, and it's at home too. I think I'd pick the same thing if it was at Energy.
Ben, I'm sorry. I mean, I admit Will Levis committed one of the worst turnovers you've ever seen. And then right after that, he marches the team down the field for the game-winning touchdown. So yeah, for a rookie to do that, that shows some an inner self that goes well beyond what he does as a passer. And that was impressive. And my opinion of Will Levis is different now than it was to begin the year. He's a better quarterback than I thought he would be, and he's a better leader than I thought he would be. And the ability to shake off that shitty play and go out and make then a series of good plays after that was impressive. So you're not wrong.
Yeah, but I'm gonna keep the fire on him though for a second, just because I like adding fuel to the fire here. If we're looking though for fire, man, I can bring you to a bunch of frat houses at Alabama, okay? Like just drunken, whoa, type of energy. If that's what you're looking for, Tommy. No, I admit the guy can swing the football. He's young though. The amount of tape on him is still pretty low. And if you do look at some of the tape, you're also going to see some painful football along there with it. Mac Jones looked good for a brief moment in time in the NFL. At least we forget that. But hats off to him. It is a very hard thing to do to go beat the Miami Dolphins, and especially in the exciting manner in prime time, in the way that he did. It's a damn shame for this Houston Texans team. I mean, we all know that the Broncos are obviously the best team in the NFL right now, and so anyone who can beat them, obviously was primed for a Super Bowl. And to see them get all beat up like this and possibly miss the playoffs is a shame. But I do think that if you are a Houston fan, there's so many reasons to be optimistic looking in the future with this team, and to be really excited for Texans football. I think for a long time to come, I think that you guys have the building blocks to have a really strong organization to compete in the next few years for a Super Bowl. And as much as we are picking this sad Titans team over this Houston Texans, there's good things to come for Houston in the near future, football wise. So, and I'm not talking about their move to the Big 12. That's horrible. But let's go Texans, right? But I'm gonna go with the Titans this week.
All right. So I am taking the Seattle Seahawks to cover the 3.5 points they're getting at home against the Eagles. Now, the Seahawks offense, even with Drew Lock, actually looked pretty good. They hung with the 49ers for a little while. They obviously hung great against the Dallas Cowboys. And the Eagles' defense is not good. The Eagles' pass defense especially is not good. I think that the Seahawks I think this is going to be a shootout. I think this is going to be a very high-scoring game. I don't have the over-under in front of me right now, but I'd be willing to bet good money that the over is going to hit on this. I think we're going to see two offenses going up and down the field, even if Drew Lock is playing. Geno Smith has been practicing. He's limited in practice, so it's not we're not getting full Geno Smith right now. But I think he plays on Sunday. I think the Seahawks team plays the Eagles tough. The Eagles obviously are on a slide right now. They've lost 2 straight. they very easily could have lost, 4 straight when you consider what they did against the Bills and the Chiefs, or 5 straight if you want to go back all the way to the first Cowboys game. The Eagles are a team on the precipice right now. It's weird to say that about a 10-win team, but they really could continue to slide. If ever there was a time for the Seahawks to upset them, it would be this week. It was 3.5 points, and so I like that. If it was 2.5, maybe I would go with the Eagles, but at 3.5, I like the Seahawks to cover this spread. Like I said, I think this has the makings of a 34-31 kind of a game. Seahawks covering. I am going to go against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I pulled up the over under. It's looking at 48.5. That I would agree. I would even go the over on that. I think they're hitting 50. But I think this is going to be a very fun football game because the Seahawks, even like despite them being 500 right now or close to it, they are a very competitive football team, and they play well against good opponents. And it's a lot of fun watching them play freaking football, man. They beat the Lions a little earlier in the season. I mean, last week was a lot of fun. And one thing that the Eagles are terrible at is defending the pass. And one thing that DK Metcalf is good at is catching passes. So I also think that Jalen Hurts has, not been. I think he's a great player. I do. I must preface this. But, and I'm not going to discredit his tush-push touchdowns, right? But even with the tush-push touchdowns as his total, like added to his total, like he isn't having an out of this world year. With all the weapons that he has and with the incredible offensive line, and they built this team like to succeed. They built this team for a Super Bowl. They have some of the best receivers in the NFL. And you're playing very good and not great with it. I feel like there could be some things done with that. The Seahawks, they're really good at fighting from behind too. I got to pick the Seahawks plus 3.5 as well. Hi, Ben.
Are you with us, Ben?
Wait, am I here? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you, yes.
Oh my goodness, that is insane. It does not say that I'm on here, but I'm gonna take your belief. Can you see me? That's crazy. That's funny. Okay. That's awesome. You know what? If Drew Lock's playing, I'm gonna take my money and just keep it in my pocket, or I'm gonna slam it on Philadelphia. The amount of times that I've had to believe in this man and hear my dad say that Drew Lock was the next John Elway, it's absurd. Let me tell you what, it was absolutely redonkulous. And, as much as even with bad Russell Wilson, as much as we were saying the Broncos lost the trade, it's not like the Seahawks were getting a lot of mileage out of Drew Lock or anything. This dude was on the bench for a reason. Okay, he slipped out of the first round for a reason. We can't sit here and pretend like Mizzou's out here just making the best quarterback products out there. As fun as Drew Lock is with the whole Toy Story Buzz Lightyear and rapping on the sidelines, I just don't think that he is someone that I would feel super comfortable as a quarterback against the Philadelphia Eagles, no matter how big of a slide they're on, honestly. But that's also just because I am a scorn Broncos fan. It is hard for me to see Drew Lock in a positive light. Especially after his mom got on Twitter to defend him. That was rough. I'm gonna take the Eagles on this one if Drew Lock's in there. But yeah, honestly, that's a lot more personal stuff. It's not you, Drew. It's me.
All right, let's burn to this next one. We're running a little long, and no one really cares about Mitchell Trubisky versus Gardner Minshew. Mitchell Trubisky has played in 2 games against the Cardinals and against the Patriots, and the Steelers lost both of them. Mitchell Trubisky is garbage. No one cares. Gardner Minshew wins this game at home easily.
Okay, what else do you want me to say? Gardner Minshew is better. The Colts are better. I hate the Steelers. Go Colts.
Come on, Trubisky was a Pro Bowler once, right, or something? Nah, just kidding. Let's go Minshew Madness. Take the hammer to the hand. I like the Colts.
All right, a game a little more interesting. The New York Jets at the Miami Dolphins. I am going to pick the Jets to cover this spread. The Dolphins have been not as impressive the second half of the year as they have the first. The Jets just put a whooping on the Houston Texans. They still have a great defense, even if Zach Wilson doesn't throw for 300 yards again, which, let's be honest, he probably won't. But that defense is excellent. Tyreek Hill's a little banged up. This Dolphins offense isn't as good as it used to be. I think Miami still wins at home. I think they win by a touchdown, but I'm getting 9 points against a really good with a really good defense. I'm going to go ahead and take those 9 points.
I'm going to agree with you, and I'm very happy that the Jets realize that although Zach Wilson is a stinker, he's the best they've got. So if you want a chance at keeping football games close, even if it's a pretty low one, you got to run with the highest. Like we're not tanking over here. Zach Wilson had an incredible week. I don't want to discredit it because I know there's a lot of people discrediting it. I think he actually played his heart out. I think he played really good football, and it was efficient football. Like he wasn't making crazy mistakes. He got the ball where it needed to be. He can be a playmaker at times. It's fun. When Zach Wilson plays well, the NFL is a better football league. When he has a good game, I think everybody enjoys it because we don't want to see Zach Wilson suck. We don't want Zach Wilson to suck. The kid, he's a good kid. And I like that he's got the starting job back. I think that the coaching staff has the right idea with that. I don't know why they took it in the first place. Maybe to get him riled up or something. But the Dolphins, with their number one guy, kind of hobbling a little. And last week you had a pretty big loss. I really do think that the Titans team is worse than the Jets team. I do. And I would argue that Zach Wilson is a better quarterback than Will Levis.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yep. I'm saying it.
Ooh.
You just yelled at me for criticizing Will Levis. The worst thing you can possibly say about Will Levis is that he's worse than Zach Wilson.
Well, I think when we're talking about physical quarterback talent, when it comes to like making plays and improvising, like I think Zach Wilson is a better improviser. Is that a better? Is that a better? Because like we all know that I like Will Levis.
It's more specific, but I don't know that it's better.
All right. Well, I think that Zach Wilson is going to actually have a good game this week, even though he's playing that Miami secondary.
He had a great game last week, so I wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
and I am going to prove all of you wrong because I think that Zach Wilson is going to have a pretty decent back half of the season. Give me the Jets +9.
Now, to prove us all wrong, I mean, I did pick the Jets, as you can see from the thing there. I did pick the Jets, so I don't know that you're proving me wrong as much as you and I are in simpatico. We're like lockstep. We're like walking hand in hand into this Jets Dolphins game.
Wonderful, and I would rather do it with nobody else.
Tommy, back it up. Make him your starter.
I don't think Tommy's
fantasy.
telling us the truth, Ben. I think Tommy is saying something wrong. I think he's lying to me about how he feels about me.
Hey, Kyle, don't worry, I love you. We're gonna walk hand in hand together and watch the Dolphins.
And it's not going to be creepy at all.
Not at all.
I
mean, if Ben joins us, there's 3, and then that makes it perfect.
We could go to picnics and do 3-legged races as a threesome.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right, so
maybe that was more of a thing when I was a kid. I don't know.
I gotta pick the Miami Dolphins after that. I'm afraid. I think I'm not really sure which is.
He doesn't want to join us on our picnics and our 3-legged races.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So anyway. I do agree on one thing out of all the mumbo jumbo that just came out, which is that the league is better when Zach Wilson is better. I do think that that's good because it means a man named Aaron Rodgers isn't going to try and go do something stupid on a leg that obviously is not ready to be played full contact football. as long as Zach Wilson is serviceable, it keeps the Jets from doing something stupid to a first ballot Hall of Famer, and I am all for that. No matter how nutso I think the man is, he is, just a treasure in the sport and an absolute legend. And you don't want to see him go out in some weird dumb way, like going out on a ligament that's already torn. Like, I understand that would be on him, but I still don't want to see it to him. Too many good childhood memories. uh Despite the three-legged threesomes or whatever Kyle was talking about, I'm gonna go with you guys in the Jets here, and just pray that the picnics don't get too weird.
Fun little side note about the Dolphins. So Tyreek Hill was just served with 2 more paternity suits. So not only is he closing in on Calvin Johnson's record for most receiving yards in a season, but he's closing in on Sean Kemp's record for most children in an NFL, or in a pro sports career. I believe that's now 6 kids for Tyreek Hill. Well done, Tyreek. All right,
well,
moving on.
if we want to talk about NFL receivers, at least very famous ones and their kids, we could talk about how just a month ago Antonio Brown said "F child support," and then 2 days ago he posted his son getting his first dunk in a basketball game. If we're going to talk about NFL fathers, I think Antonio Brown is not a great example of it.
I think there's a lot of areas in life that Antonio Brown is not a good example to use. Fatherhood being one of them, but every other like personal communication.
I can think of a couple
any kind of
videos
interpersonal.
off my head.
Yeah, yeah. No, Antonio Brown is not somebody you want to emulate in any part of world life. All right. So to me, this is going to be an excellent football game. The Buffalo Bills actually favorites against the Dallas Cowboys despite the fact that the Cowboys have been looking fantastic. I'm going to go with the Cowboys on the road. Look, the Bills have been playing much better. Josh Allen is playing really well. I think Josh Allen's going to have a good game against these Cowboys. But I think Micah Parsons, the Chiefs were able to get after Allen pretty well. They got a good number of pressures on him. They got to him 4 times last week in sacks. I think Micah Parsons really solidifies Defensive Player of the Year this week against the Bills. I think the Bills, I think the Bills are going to score 28 points. But I think this Cowboys offense right now is clicking as well as it ever has. I think Dak Prescott wins the MVP award with this performance on the road in Buffalo. And I think the Cowboys win this game. I'm going to call it like a 34-28 kind of a game. Cowboys cover this spread. They win this game. But it's going to be a great game. Buffalo is going to play well. They're going to look good, but they're just not as good as the Cowboys, and they will lose.
I do agree that they're not as good as the Cowboys, but I think that the Bills have been showing a little more fight recently. But one thing I will say about the Cowboys is I think as much as I've been like following the Cowboys' success for the last couple of years, they've been pretty good in the regular season. I think this season is a whole different story when it comes to how good they are. Because the other years there was always the speculation, there was always the questions. But I think that the Cowboys are one of the least questioned football teams in the NFL right now. We know who they are. We know that they can play well on both sides of the ball. And there's no more Dak debate. Dak's playing out of his freaking mind. I might say there's a Tony Pollard debate because I think he can be inconsistent. But the Cowboys team is the best Cowboys team that we have seen in a decent amount of time. And as much as I hate it, I also like it because, it is America's team. We gotta, represent America here. But don't say it's your Chiefs. All right, come on now.
No, I hate the Cowboys self-proclaiming them America's team. Nobody's America's team. The NFL is America's sport.
Who voted for them as America's team? I didn't get that ballot.
I think the Super Bowl winner should be the America's team every year.
Oh, well, then it is the Chiefs. Yeah. Okay.
What is circle, Tommy?
Yeah, I just really threw myself under the bus. But I do want to say though that the Bills they have been putting it together. And I think they've got the right headspace. As much I think them keeping this game close is going to be a testament to even if they lose, if they keep it within 5-4 and they play it till the end, I think it's going to make people think better about them just because they kept it so close with such a good team. If they get blown out, obviously that's a whole different story. But I don't think I don't believe that'll happen. I don't think either you do.
No, I like the Dallas Cowboys here. I mean, let's just look at it through this football math, right? Broncos beat the Bills, okay? Cowboys are much better than the Broncos. Cowboys much better than the Bills, right? Like I get what we're saying about the recent trends, Josh Allen playing a little bit better. But I think that this Cowboys defense is going to rattle them. I think that they're going to get some turnovers, even in Orchard Park. I think that the top competitors can really get to this kid, and until I see more consistency in him being able to overcome that, I'm going to side with these great defenses just because the track record is with the great defenses. Now, if he has a great run throughout the end of this year, makes a good run through the playoffs, what have you, I could see myself revisiting, that state of mind. But right now, I'm just going to follow the trend. I'm going to go with the defenses. I like the Cowboys here.
In the history of the Dallas Cowboys, they have never had a quarterback win the MVP. You've got Roger Staubach, who's a Hall of Famer. You've got Troy Aikman, who's a Hall of Famer. Neither one of them ever was an NFL MVP. The only time Troy Aikman ever actually received votes, he lost out to MVP Emmitt Smith, who was the Cowboys running back. So the voters, if they are given the opportunity to give the MVP award to the quarterback of America's team, they're 100% going to do it. And because of that, I think Prescott. Look, I've been a Brock Purdy stan on this show all season long. I think Brock Purdy has been fantastic. I think it's absolute bullshit that they are discounting Purdy because of the weapons around him. Again, you go back and look at what Kurt Warner had with Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, Marshall Falk.
It ruins every MVP debate. It does.
Look what Peyton Manning had with Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Edgerrin James. These teams were loaded, and those guys won the MVP award. There's no reason that Brock Purdy can't be the MVP because his team is loaded. But I think that the voters will give it to Dak because Dak's been around for 8 years. This is his best year. And the Cowboys we all thought that the 49ers were going to be here because they were here last year. I think the Cowboys are the bigger story. Now, if the Cowboys falter and they don't end up winning the NFC East, they are a wild card team. They're the 5th seed. Then that puts the ball back in Purdy's court. But I think we're probably looking at a Prescott MVP, and I think he wraps it up this week. But, it's in Buffalo. Anything can happen. The weather could be shitty because why would you ever want to be in Western New York in December? I would never want to be there. So I can get wings anywhere. I don't need to go to Buffalo for your wings, people. Maybe if I wanted to dive bomb into a card table, yes, I'd go to Buffalo, but otherwise, no. All right. That is the end of our games. We're going to move back to a 3-box because nobody needs to see me giant for too long. We now come to the most important part of the show. Okay, I know that we're pretty far into the show, and you're thinking, why did you guys bury the most important part of the show? Well, because we need to get through all the other things. Right now, we are going to pick our favorites, our top dogs, and our easy money lines. These are the picks you really should focus on. Don't make bets on all 15 games on Saturday and Sunday. Go out and pick out the best games, and we're going to do that right now. Ben O'Connell, who was perfect in today's quiz, he gets to go first. This is a rarity, so we're going to go. I wish I had some kind of like fanfare to play. Although, Ben, I've got a surprise for you coming up, so stay tuned. This is just for Ben. It turns out that he earned it by the quiz, but this was planned before that very unexpected delightfulness. All right, so we are now into week 15. We are going to pick our top dogs, our favorites, and our easy money lines. Ben, please tell me who your favorite of the week is.
I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons. It was 3 against Carolina, right?
ATL -3 at the Carolina Panthers. Not a terrible pick when you're picking against the worst team in the NFL. Well done. All right, your top dog of the week.
Man, I think that last little discussion convinced me. I'm gonna take America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, +2.
Dallas Cowboys getting 2 points at the Buffalo Bills. All right. And your easy money line pick of the week.
Last time I saw it, it was +200. I'm gonna take the Denver Broncos going into Ford and getting the dub.
Denver plus 200. Really?
That's what I
All
saw it.
right.
I'm not sure what it's.
Yeah, I mean it adds up because I got +185 here, so I can see it being plus.
I've got plus 196. So yeah, plus 200 makes sense. All right. Denver plus 200. If you want to throw away your $100 on that, that's fine. Plus
That's-
200
Wow,
on the Denver Broncos. All right.
what a supportive
Tommy.
guy.
Well, it's the Denver Broncos. Why would I be supportive?
He's getting sweaty. He's getting nervous. He's getting nervous over
Look,
there.
I can see it.
I
can see
need
it.
more. I need Chief stuff. Here's my screensaver for
You're funny, Kyle.
All right. Tommy, your favorite of the week, please.
My favorite is going to be the Baltimore Ravens.
BAL giving 3.5, right? Is that what we said? I believe that's what we
Yes.
said. Baltimore giving 3.5 points. All right. Well, they are the best team in the NFC, as we all established. All right. Your top dog of the week, please.
Top dog, give me Denver.
Denver +4 at the Detroit Lions. All right. Your easy money line pick, please.
My easy money line pick, Kyle Garlett. It's a good question. And with that money line pick, I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys. I have +115. Anybody see anything better?
Nah, +110 over here.
All right. +115 is the deal. All right. For me, my favorite of the week, I am going to go with the Indianapolis Colts giving up 1.5 to Mitchell Trubisky. My top dog of the week, I like. Who do I like? I like those Tampa Bay Buccaneers getting 3 points at the Green Bay Packers. And my easy money line pick is the New York Giants. New York Giants. I've got them at +204. Anybody see anything better than that?
New York Football Giants? No, I don't got any better than that.
All right, +204 it is. So let's just recap. These are the picks that we deem the best of the week. All right, Ben went first. He's got the Atlanta Falcons giving up 3 points as his favorite. The big Dallas Cowboys at the Buffalo Bills game. Cowboys getting 2 points. That is Ben's top dog. And his easy money line pick, the Denver Broncos at +200. Although +200 is a pretty tasty little morsel. I don't think the Broncos win, but if you're giving me 2-to-1 odds on that, then maybe I would go ahead and play it. Worth the risk for sure. Tommy, his favorite is the Baltimore Ravens. They are giving 3.5 points to the Jacksonville Jaguars. His top dog is those same Denver Broncos. They are getting 4 points at the Detroit Lions. And his easy money line pick, as we all discussed at the last game of the week, Dallas Cowboys paying +115. You got the Cowboys paying plus money, a 10 win Cowboys team paying plus money, +115. That's not a bad pick at all. I've got the Indianapolis Colts facing Mitchell Trubisky and the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are giving 1.5 points. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Green Bay Packers. They are getting 3 points. I am taking Baker and the field goal. And then my easy money line pick, the New York Giants, paying +204 at the New Orleans Saints. Now, normally we finish the night with a little football zen. I did not have time to put that together because I did not have internet until 24 hours ago. So to finish out the show, as a little gift to Ben, and I bet Tommy's going to jump in on here too, because I was privy to this conversation earlier this week. If you're a football bettor, you probably bet on other things. And it turns out that this weekend, not a terrible UFC match, right? Pretty good card. So Ben, Tommy, give us a couple of minutes on the fights that are happening on Saturday in the UFC and who are the guys you are all about. Let our football bettors know what they can do on the UFC this weekend.
Oh my goodness! I didn't know this. This is what a treat. This truly is a Christmas miracle, if you will. Oh my goodness! It is a treat for fight fans around the world as the welterweight world championship is belt is on the line between Leon Rocky Edwards and Colby Chaos Covington. Two names that are wildly massive right now in the world of MMA, as Leon Edwards came back from like having the worst fight we've ever seen to knocking out one of the goats of the sport in Kamaru Usman last year before defending it against Usman again this year. Colby Covington's been sitting out since absolutely laying the smackdown on Jorge Masvidal a couple years ago, and then getting beat up outside of the ring by Jorge Masvidal. Absolutely insane storyline right there. Go ahead and check that out. There's was it the flyweights. They got Alejandra Pantoja going against Brandon Royval. Literally going to be an insane fight. I don't think that reaches the judges' decisions. And then of course, fan favorites Patty the Batty Pimblett taking on Tony Ferguson.
Old man
And what
Tony.
fans Oh man, and we'll see if Tony can pull this one out of the fire. It should be an absolutely
He's
great
senile at this
card.
point.
Oh, dude, it's absolutely wild for all those crazy bettors looking for some fun action. The two props I'm laying down are Leon Edwards, by finish. That's either a submission or a knockout, and then I'm playing a third round knockout from Leon Edwards. I think he's going to get a flying knee. This is going to be great fodder when it comes true. Trust me, it's going to be a great weekend. It's the best fight card of the year. If you are new to MMA, go for sure check it out. I think you're gonna fall in love with the sport. It's a gambler's paradise. You lose one fight and then just bet on the next one. Just play the whole card with the rest of us, and you'll get that gambling fix in on a Saturday. But again, it's gonna be hard for me to even give my full attention to the card because wouldn't you know it, the Broncos and Lions will be finishing up their game at the start of it. So I got a lot of sports to be watching this weekend. A lot of fun sports. I'm excited.
Well, so we've got the college bowl season begins on Saturday. There are 3 NFL games on Saturday and the best UFC fight card of the year on Saturday. Then there's 12 more NFL games on Sunday. If you're not sitting in front of your TV in your boxer shorts, holding your phone for the next 48 hours, what the hell are you doing with your life? That's all I have to say. On behalf of Tommy Birch, who is in Springfield, Massachusetts, Ben O'Connell, who is in Champaign, Illinois, just down the road from his home in Chicago, I am Kyle Garlett in Denver, Colorado. What a weekend of betting you have in store for you. Thank you so much for tuning in to us. We look forward to seeing you next week for Week 16. Until then, happy betting.
Broncos country, let's fight! Yeah.